This LOS is distinguished between current and non-current assets and current and non-current liabilities. Components and format of the balance sheet. Current and non-current classification. Assets held primarily for the purpose of trading or expected to be sold, used up, or otherwise realized in cash within 1 year, or this is very important, put in bold, or one operating cycle of the business, whichever is greater, after the reporting period are classified as current assets. So that's very important. It's not 1 year, it's 1 year or one operating cycle of the business. A company's operating cycle is the average amount of time that elapses between acquiring inventory and collecting the cash from sales to customers. For a manufacturer, this is the average amount of time between acquiring raw materials and converting these into cash from a sale. Examples of companies that might be expected to have an operating cycle longer than 1 year include those operating in the tobacco, distillery, and lumber industries. Components and format of the balance sheet, current and non-current classification, now with regards to liabilities. Liabilities expected to be settled within 1 year or within one operating cycle of the business, whichever is greater, after the reporting period, are classified as current liabilities. The specific criteria for classification of a liability as current include the following. 1, it is expected to be settled in the entity's normal operating cycle. 2, it is held primarily for the purpose of being traded. 3, it is due to be settled within 1 year after the balance sheet date. Or 4, the entity does not have an unconditional right to defer settlement of the liability for at least 1 year after the balance sheet date. So current assets minus current liabilities equals working capital. I just put that in as a quick reminder. And both IFRS and US GAAP require that the balance sheet distinguish between current and non-current assets and between current and non-current liabilities and present these as separate classifications. An exception to this requirement under IFRS is that current and non-current classifications are not required if a liquidity-based presentation provides reliable and more relevant information. So we saw in a previous LOS that a liquidity-based presentation is an alternative presentation of the balance sheet. And that's the last slide for this LOS. Thank you.